I haven't factored mine, but they probably won't.
I was thinking about $1 billion.
We'll start at that. Do I hear $1.1 billion? Maybe $1.2 billion?
I mean,
We've got a sense of humor here in Frio County, but it's a great system and we think you'll really like it, but we will be, I know they'll want to be doing some analysis and looking at, what we've got, those kind of things. And so anyway, yes, I think we would be actively interested in continuing the conversation, Council. Yeah.
Sure. Well,
So-
we appreciate that, and just, I think, there's no number or value that's off the table. The way that we evaluate these opportunities is, working with the sellers to come up with a fair price. We've got to make a return on our investment, but the Railroad Commission in the state of Texas regulates the return that investor-owned utilities are allowed to earn. So, and rates are regulated either by the cities or the Railroad Commission. And so it wouldn't be within our control to purchase the system and come in and jack up the rates for your residents or anything like that. It's highly regulated. And so the price would be a function of, what the rates are and what the expenses are and how much capital improvement needs to go in. And, I think we can, with a little bit more info and digging in, we can evaluate all that and tell you guys what we think. We basically have a formula, and it'll spit out a number that is the prices that we're happy to pay. So I think that's the process.
What would be the next step? I'm sure you need to do some analysis. You come down to an on-site, you look at the data. What's the next step from your perspective?
Yeah, I think just getting more detailed financials from you guys. If you have that, operating metrics and broken out financials. The financials that we saw, I think, included all your utilities bundled up together, so we weren't able to break out just the gas system. And then trying to work with you to figure out what additional improvements need to be made or could be made, and what the cost of those improvements would be.
Okay, well, very good. Well, too, we do have audited statements. We're current on that, so we can provide that some internal as you're ready. But yes, sir, we can anticipate more communication in a very near future.
Great, thank you, really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Have a blessed day.
You too, take
All
care.
right, thank you. Okay, moving on to item 6B. I want to introduce a presentation by SWBC staff regarding Blue Shield, Blue Cross Blue Shield, and Mutual Omaha for medical, dental, vision, and other ancillary insurance benefits for 2024-2025. Welcome. We have, I believe we have a packet.
It's in your package.
Yeah.
What you have is their presentation. It's going to be, it's in your packet on page, it's their.
Yeah, I show it on page 49, Council.
Because on page 49.
Welcome.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. My name is Jonathan Amato, and I work at SWBC. And we work with your team here at the city to administer your benefit program. Go to the next slide, please. Quick agenda item here, so we'll introduce our team that works with the city. Go over your current plans real fast, and then talk about the renewals that we have on the table, and we'd like to present some different options for you as well. So here you'll see our team that has, it's not our entire team that we have that handles the benefits, but it's a team that touches some part of the benefit program for the city of Pearsall, supports the staff, with any questions and all those types of things with your benefit program. Your current benefits, you can see there they're outlined, who the carriers are, the different things that are offered to employees. This is a combination of benefits that are paid for by the city, as well as voluntary products that are paid for out of the employees' own pockets. Really high-level snapshot here. So the initial increase from Blue Cross and Blue Shield was 18% on your medical. through some different conversations and negotiations, they reduced that down to 17%. And what we'll show you here in just a moment is a recommendation to add a third benefit offering, a third plan, and make a slight change onto one of the base plan offerings to enhance the benefit that the employees would receive. And you can see there that increase would then go from about 17% down to about 12.5% by making a few slight changes and without really denigrating the plan to the employees. I know that may be really hard to read on the screen, but if you have that in your packet, you can review. Currently, there are two benefit plans that are offered from medical insurance through Blue Cross Blue Shield to the employees. You have your base plan and then a buy-up plan. Okay? What we'd like to recommend is adding a third plan option and slightly changing that base plan option. Biggest difference on that base plan is the price point would remain about the same as the renewal, so not what the price is today, but would be in line with the base plan pricing currently at the renewal. The deductible, however, would get dramatically reduced. So the current deductible on that base plan is $6,650, and under the proposed plan, it would reduce to $5,550. There's a couple, the maximum out of pocket would increase slightly from where it's at today, but it's a negligible amount compared to the deductible decrease amount. Okay? Because of the cost spread between that base plan and the buy-up plan, it's our recommendation to add a third plan that you would see there in the middle, the mid plan proposed. And this would essentially offer another price point for employees to enter if they wanted to have a different type of plan above the base plan with a little bit richer benefits, but not have to fully pay that additional out-of-pocket expense for the buy-up plan. Okay. Got any questions on that medical? I know that's a lot of information to review in a very short time.
I have a question. I'm really like, really disturbing to, I'm sure a lot of employees that are full-timers, and of course, every time that people have to renew their insurance every year, they have to start all over again. I don't understand why y'all insurances have to do that, knowing that we are full-time employees, and every year, when there's a renewal, we have to start all over on our, deductibles and all this stuff, when, it should be rolled over to the next year, because we've already paid and contributed our pay towards it. That's not fair to us, that, it's just so long. I mean, I don't get why it's.
And it's definitely a tough thing, and that's what our team is there to do, is to try to assist when those employees have those types of situations. Kara is the main contact on the team, and she is there to help fight those charges and those types of things for employees and help them navigate the system.
And there's another thing that, I know there's other insurances out there, and I don't understand why, insurances don't put their employees in a bracket to where they can qualify for subsidized, because they are full-time employees still, but because of their income, they don't have to pay a high premium on it. Like, people who make over 50 grand and stuff like that. I mean, this is something that I had spoke to James about, that we're gonna, talk to, people up higher on this, and, and I did mention to him about, we were gonna be taking it up to, who would be the one that talked about it yesterday, would be Tony, right? Yeah, and, cause we did come up with this, because, I mean, it's ridiculous, because our employees are on a, paid bracket, based income, we're the ones that are working hard, to have health insurance, but yet the ones that don't work get it for free, and it's not fair to us that we have to keep paying our insurance premiums, because, that's what it's based out of, on that bracket, but yet some employees don't make the money that others make to afford it, and it's not right, and this is something that I wanted to bring up, because it should be based off of the employer's gross amount, not based on just what the rate is and the premiums, you know, because, I mean, it's just wrong. I mean, I just don't get it.
I'll speak to that a little bit. You're right, I mean, and these guys here, as far as when we hired them about 5 years ago, part of the reason that we're hired is to try to make sure the cost, now, Blue Cross is a provider, right, they're the ones that are charging these rates and saying, this is what your markup's gonna be, whatever that amount is, and saying, this is what your dollar amount is that you're gonna have to pay per person that's on your plan. Again, their role here is to say, okay, how can we find ways to negotiate and lower those, what we have to pay in total? And I think they've done pretty good, but in saying that, you're right, part of what we need to work on, and what I've suggested, and I've mentioned it to the staff, is the plan that we have is okay, it's not great, by no stretch, it's not a great plan. But it's an affordable plan for us as a city. Two, one thing we need to do on our end is as best we can, try to take care of ourselves. And what I mean by that is getting regular checkups. And we struggle with that, we do, as a population. We struggle, particularly, I won't name names, but predominantly people that are of my gender, or probably my age group, or my, whatever you wanna call it. But we don't do those things that are what we call preventive type stuff and that, you know, all we have to have is 1 or 2 occurrences of somebody having a serious illness, for us, a small group as we are, and those rates just skyrocket. To your point, I mean, it's just stuff like that where we're just like, how can we make this affordable for the average employee and still give them some kind of a benefit? So that's, you know, that's kind of where we're at, and I think, you know, speaking to that, I think that's kind of what we're trying to do as best we can to try to give employees some coverage. But, you know, we can only, same time, we can only afford some.
How much does the city contribute to each employee?
That is what he's gonna.
Okay, I dropped something there, okay.
Yeah, so, the amount that the city contributes to each employee, so for the base plan offering, that base plan, the city actually cover the employee only amount. So if the employee wants to add, addition, you know, their spouse or their child, there's an additional cost there. In addition to that, the city does, because it is what we call a high deductible health plan, that it has it's HSA compatible, so you're looking at a health savings account. The city does also then put, for anybody who's enrolled in that base plan, they then do make a contribution to the HSA account in addition to covering the employee only amount. If the employees want to, go to the buyout plan, or now under the proposed, mid or buyout plan, they would pay the additional, some additional monies to, have a better benefit. And they're proposing that, for the mid plan, it would be $40 per pay period for employee only, or $65 per pay period for the buyout plan. And so that was one of the conversations we had when looking at adding that mid plan, is so that employees could have another price point there if they're uncomfortable with being on the high deductible health plan for any reason.
So currently, we're looking at 427 per employee, just the employee only, and it's jumping up with the renewal of 17%.
Yes.
Can you explain that gap there? I mean, what is it that's going on with the Blue Cross Blue Shield? Is there, I mean, did you guys take a hit on claims?
Yeah, so yeah, for sure. So the group, one of the major factor of the rating is the group's experience. And so since being with Blue Cross Blue Shield, the group is running at a very high loss ratio. So the insurance companies paid out significantly a higher amount in claims than they've received in premium. And so that's one of the factors.
Do we have a breakdown in payouts just in the city of Pearsall?
Correct. Yeah, we have that. I can send that over for you all to follow up.
I guess the biggest frustration of most people is the fact that those that work pay and those that don't work have the benefit of having it, which is out of your control.
Yeah.
But see, there is insurances like
Yes,
United
you can.
Healthcare.
But the prices increase of that is out of his
Yeah, but
control.
they do have subsidized, you know, they do have subsidized for people that their income is not over 50,000. That would save the city a lot of money, because if we do have people who are for that bracket rate, you wouldn't have to pay a premium for these employees, but I don't know how it works with,
That'd be nice.
you know, with other insurance agencies. I honestly don't, because I have United Health, and, they have good rates as well.
So, yeah, so under the Affordable Care Act, that was passed in 2010, there are ways through the exchange that people can be subsidized for an individual health plan.
And I feel that these employees should be subsidized because we have employees here that don't make that much money to where they can. And it would save the city also a lot of money on it.
I understand that. When a city or any type of, organization offers a group health plan, which under the ACA rules, Affordable Care Act rules, y'all would be required to offer that. Once, you offer a plan and you meet all the requirements of the Affordable Care Act, that then, disqualifies those individuals from getting a subsidy under the healthcare exchange. And so, and if you don't meet all of the requirements to where they can get the subsidy, then that would put the city at risk of being penalized by the federal government in those types of situations. It's very complex, but I definitely agree with your statements and your sentiments.
I got a question. Maybe this doesn't pertain to fees or anything, but do any of us up here have the option to jump in and pay it at our regular cost without, I'm not asking for the city to cover any cost, but can we jump into any of this?
This is only available for full-time employees of the city.
Council, do you have any questions for John regarding the insurance? It's gonna come up here in just a little bit, we're gonna discuss.
And I have a couple of more slides as well.
Okay, all right.
For your dental plan, the dental plan did receive a very slight rate increase. It is 7%, but on a much lower dollar figure. So for the dental plan, the rate for employee only at 7% equals about $1.89 per month change in the dental plan. In having conversations with the city staff, we noticed that there's a need for, potentially a need for increasing the annual calendar year maximum on the dental plan. So we're proposing adding a second plan option, so a buy-up plan option on the dental. This is a voluntary product, so employees pay for this out of their pocket if they see the value in the plan. Essentially, adding this buy-up plan, they would have the option to have a better benefit for a few more dollars per month. So what we've seen in the industry is that traditionally $1,000 maximum per year has been the benefit. Y'all have a little bit higher than that at $1,500 today. We continue to offer that plan, but the employees would then have an option to have a $2,500 maximum dental plan if they choose to have that plan. So we'd like to propose that as well. So again, would be voluntary and up to the employee if they wanted to have that better benefit. The last thing we want to propose is a long-term disability plan. This would be a voluntary plan. Long-term disability is an income protection. Once again, this would be voluntary up to the employee if they would like to elect this. But what this would do is if they're unable to work for 90 days, an elimination period, then if they're out of work for 90 days, at that point the benefit would kick in and pay them 60% of their pre-disability earnings. And that would be for anything due to injury or illness. But once again, it would be voluntary up to the employee. If they see value in this benefit and would like to elect it, they would be able to add that as a benefit offering.
So that's a minimum 90 days?
Yeah, once you're out for 90 days due to injury or illness, so once again, it could be either or, and then it would begin to pay them a pre-disability, 60% of the pre-disability earnings.
But they have short-term right now.
Yeah.
You
correct.
have- I got a good one.
The rest of the products, so the vision plan, life, the basic life is paid for by the city, the voluntary life, short-term disability, accident, critical illness, and hospital indemnity are all rate passes under a rate lock. So there'll be no changes in pricing or in the benefits for any of those products. Are there any other questions?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for your
Anything,
time.
John? Anything?
Appreciate it, thank you.
Okay, thank you, John. All right, right, council, now we're moving on to item 7C, budget workshop. Brett?
Mayor and council, well, you didn't have this in your packet, and I apologize, it wasn't in there, but I just wanted to go over a couple things. First is the budget calendar. I think we've met at least 5 or 6 times regarding the budget. I don't recall, kind of lost count, but we're somewhere up there. Anyway, where we are, council, if you look at your budget calendar, it's here. You should have a sheet that has your budget calendar. Actually, it's your budget and your tax calendar.